So, hi guys, how are you?
Good, good.
We're good.
So, to start, obviously, I am big fans of both of yours, but in the pandemic, it was very nice to see you guys kind of pop off and other people learn to appreciate the two of you as just individuals. Now that you are promoting something that is you two working together and is you guys as a duo after the success of these TikToks that you found, how has it been kind of interacting with fans and media post everyone kind of becoming obsessed with the two of you?
Well, I don't know if everyone is, Rachel, but it's certainly a new experience for
I'm
me.
obsessed with you.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, I feel grateful when people come up and say, "Oh, you got me through a hard time in the pandemic," or you're helping me through this bizarre historical moment. And so it feels like sort of a social service, and that feels wonderful to be able to offer any kind of support because we all need it right at this moment, or joy or escape from the moment. So that feels fairly wonderful. Um, and I'm just excited about people seeing this pilot because I think it encompasses a lot of the joy that we need to feel right now, and it kind of combats any stereotypes of people that look like me. you know.
To answer your first question, I I wanted more than anything for the world to get to know my wife. When she made the decision to basically work off Broadway and write and do her love of theater, and spend the majority of 18 years doing that and raising our two children, I was happy for her, but frustrated that a larger audience didn't get to know her because I thought the world would be a better place if they did know her. And I failed because if I'd make a suggestion, she would just cut my neck off, and or another part of my anatomy. And my son Gideon made my wish come true. He did this social media. It was all an accident. It was never intended. He just, clearly, if you've watched it, he's the wizard. He's the magic sauce. He's it all, and he just knows how to push our buttons and make us dance. And he made my wish come true. He got the world to know my wife, and I think the world's a better place for it.
Oh,
So
I wouldn't go that far, but if I make
I do go that far. That's my right, and I'm very grateful both to the social media and to this series because the series takes it way past the social media. It's not about the social media at all. It is us, but it takes it into just extraordinary different avenues, and you haven't read the other 5 episodes that they wrote out of 51 that they've sketched out. They had to write 5 more before the series, before the strike deadline happened, and get those in. And some of them are, all of them are completely original. Some are so out of the box, and there's nothing I love more than an original, unique, out of the box perspective of our existential lives. And and they did that, and I want people to see more of my wife.
well, I want people to see that my husband, the very intense, you know,
Not so
respected.
intense when I'm sleeping.
No, you're not, honey, but you're also very hilarious, and nobody knows that, but they will know that when this series gets greenlit. I'm knocking on everything, but
I'll
that's
knock
what.
on wood too. I'll knock on my desk as well.
Thank you, thank you.
Well,
I
and I
used to wear a piece of wood because I'd get so paranoid, I'd have to
always
go.
have it.
Yeah.
Well, and I was going to ask you guys because it is a family affair. Gideon is also involved in this series. How is it now, Mandy? I obviously know that you wanted the world to see Kathryn, but you guys are working with each other as performers and actors versus, how many of us were interacting with you guys as husband and wife. How has it been getting to work creatively as a family in that regard to make seasons happen?
Well, I have a strict rule never to make suggestions or interfere or any criticism, God knows, to another actor that I work with. My job is to be with that other actor, to listen to them, to take them in, to let them, inspire me. and to respond to them, not to tell them what to do. They are the gift to my attending that moment at work that day. But with my wife, I thought things might be a little different because we do tell each other a lot of things, make suggestions, talk too much, etc. And I had to learn, after a little friction, that I was not allowed to do that. Gideon made it clear to me. Kathryn made it even clearer to me to shut the fuck up and and leave her alone. And I got it through my head, and I just put my whatever you call it, my whatever it's called, on, and just gave her everything I had. And no matter what she did, I just tried to be there for her, as the kids used to say when they were little, infinity%. And she just took it and ran with it. She was a rock star. We were shooting all night long, all nights, 5 nights in a row, from 4 in the afternoon till 6 something in the morning when the sun came up. She was,
Yeah, I like your expression, Rachel. That was a challenge that I hope not to repeat. It's the only part of it I don't want to repeat. You know,
You like
the
said it in the day.
she was just truly a rock star. She's the ever ready bunny anyway. When our kids were little, now with our grandchildren, she just never tires of energy. I'm in the grandpa chair taking a nap 24/7, but she is the polar opposite, and just as a life force to this family, and she's brought this family up in every way imaginable.
Does that answer the question? Not quite, about what it's like to work with Gid. It's
With Gid or with
Gid.
Oh,
I thought
Well,
that
it
was
was for both. It was like as a family unit, like
well.
all
You
working.
had never
I didn't
worked.
answer the Gid part, but I
No.
love Gid, and he's the magic sauce. He pushes buttons. I listen to him, whether it's in my concert life or this life of filming or whatever. He makes a suggestion. I do everything I can to listen and do it because I think he has an amazing gift of what's funny and what's heartfelt at the same time. He knows how to
Or what's too much?
he knows how to mix the heart and the humor like no one I've ever known.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean,
And what's too much? He knows how to protect his dad from, letting people want to
I'm very
throw me
moved.
down.
I'm very moved by
Oh,
both.
shoot.
I'm very moved, to tell you the truth, Rachel, by both Gideon and his creative partner Ewan. That they're, young men in the 30s dealing with a crazy world and a crazy pandemic, and that they, it's a kind of affirmation of the possibility of intergenerational people enjoying each other. You read so much about these estranged families and cutting off, and there's a term for it that I forget, parental disassociations, and all these articles about it, about, people not deciding not to have children. I'm fine with people that don't want children not having them. It's like, spare us that problem, But the fact that that these two very creative, brilliant people really enjoy our company, and we enjoy their company, and they've turned their appreciation into this kind of comic and original perspective on this period of our life, which we don't necessarily have the same view. We just are being who we are. And I am continually fighting in any way I can, whatever stereotype somebody has or assumption about me, because of the hair or whatever.
Be glad you have it.
I am glad I have it done. And so I just think that is a great sign in itself, that this series sort of reflects that mutual pleasure and admiration of their perspectives and our perspectives sort of merging together. And
I think the world and the country is really in need of some guides these days, some leaders, some people that show us how not to waste this precious thing called life and every single moment in it. Whatever we're doing, whether we're sleeping or having the day, being with the grandchildren or the children or work or whatever we're doing, but to always have that little twinkle in your eye, to get, find a way to laugh through some pretty rough stuff that we all experience. And these days, maybe a little more than ever. And I really feel, not just me, but in this series, there'll be a whole world of people that, that somehow we're always connected, but it's a lot of people that will be part of this fabric.
Mhm.
And Ewen Wright and my son Gideon Grody-Patinkin, I believe, and I'm not just a proud father of my boy. I'm a true fan, and I'm mostly a fan. The thing I'm the biggest fan of is that he shows me how to live and not waste my time and my day, how to be absurd and funny and do this thing with the kids or this thing, and then how to do something that matters in a much more serious way at the same moment. And I think that's the best sauce that I could put on anything I put into my body.
Mhm.
And I think I'm not just a proud dad. I think both these guys are a gift to the world at a particular moment when I believe this world needs them. Not us so much, but them.
Mhm. I agree. That made me kind of want to cry, but I will continue and ask a later question. You come from theater backgrounds, and as someone who I studied theater, like that is where I find so much joy. When I watch TV, it is such a different medium, and I feel like people don't understand how different it is on an acting level to go from theater into something like a television show or even a movie role or whatever it is. For you guys, what was the fun of getting to use that theater training and that theater background to get to tell a story for television and get to tell big stories within that smaller screen and spectrum?
I have very little experience with television. Or film. I have huge admiration for people that do it.
I'm just going to turn
I've
the air conditioner on. I'm
I've
getting
just
hot.
never gotten it, Rachel. Honestly, my whole thing is the audience.
Mhm.
I just don't understand how you do this without pretending this is real up here and hearing the response,
Mhm.
Um, and I'm always amazed at how much, I would often say while we were shooting the pilot, why are we doing this again? You know, Forgetting I'm attached to both Gideon and Ewan's ears. And they come marching forward and go, okay. And I forgot. And they'll say, it's the light or it's the boom or there was a sound, that I just don't even comprehend.
We've been doing
Uh,
other interviews, and I just realized I forgot to tell one of the great moments of doing that pilot is they came to give us notes on the kiss when we kiss in front of the store. They did not
Good.
like the way we were kissing, and they just we were really chasing the clock. The sun was about to rise. It was like everybody was all hands on deck, and they were like, "That's not a good kiss. They're not kissing well." And they came and they did the kiss together for
yeah.
us to show us how to kiss,
No,
and,
Mandy
and
would
it was
look at
great.
them coming on, the
I
fifth,
said, "Oh, here they
the
come.
fifth take of the kiss, and he'd
Here
say,
they
"Here
come.
come the kissing
Here
police."
come the kissing police." Yeah.
We would do it not enough. We would do it too much, and it was pretty friggin' funny, to have our son and his writing partner
And director.
and director showing us how to do that. So,
So we know
um,
how to kiss now, but it's not our way, it's theirs. And we've given it to the world now
Television.
in the pilot of season.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, it's the television way of kissing. You've mastered it.
yeah, right.
Yep, yep.
Well, it's truly an honor to get to talk to you guys today. Before I leave, Mandy, I have to tell you, as I said, I was a theater kid, so many of your musical performances end up being where I turn when I need something to just kind of feel. But one of my favorite memories I have with my brother was I had eye surgery when I was 14, and I had never seen The Princess Bride. And he went, "She has surgery. You have to show her this movie. It's a sick movie. It'll make her feel better." And it's one of my fondest memories that I have with him that he gave me that movie. And so ever since, anytime someone brings up Mandy Patinkin, they're like, "Here comes Rachel." Because I'm like, I got some things to say about Mandy. What do you want to know? I love Mandy Patinkin. So
Oh, well, bless
Uh,
you.
honor.
well, I hope your eyes are fine.
They are. I have an eye disability, so they fixed it. So I was
What
like,
was your eye disability?
I have a lazy eye, so now I can see straight, but like I have to wear contacts or glasses. But I literally, it was very sweet. He made me watch a movie when I couldn't actually see because I had had eye surgery. So I had like a thing like this and
I
watched
had,
The Princess
yeah,
Bride.
I had an unusual eye disease called keratoconus, and I have two cornea transplants. I have a
Oh my God.
13-year-old little boy's eye and a 14-year-old little girl's eye.
Yeah, and without that surgery, he wouldn't have been able
I
to
wouldn't have
see.
been able to
So,
see without it. I see
Well,
through these children's eyes.
oh,
I
stop.
thank
That's
God
so
for them every day.
yeah.
That's beautiful. This, like I said, this was an honor. I loved Seasons. I hope everyone else really enjoys it. And like you said, I hope it gets picked up so we can have more.
Oh,
Thank
I
you.
would
Thank
love to
you.
talk to you about every episode,
I
right
can't wait.
from
Well,
your mouth.
Yeah.
thank you
Okay.
guys.
Promise you'll come talk to us about every episode.
I will talk to you about every episode and anything you want to talk about.
Okay,
Okay.
good, good. Done.
Take you up
Thank
on that.
you
Thanks,
guys.
Take care.
Rachel.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye. Hi guys, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Great. So I want to start by something your parents just told me, Gideon. They said that you guys kissed in order to show them how to kiss,
Yes, we
but
did.
they were not giving you the television kiss you desired.
No, they were doing something that was shocking, horrifying, and confusing. And we could have had we could have had you know, given them a few shots to get it right or do something a little more human and a little less alien, but we had no time. We were running out, so we ran across the street, and it was, I think, probably the only time we gave them a line reading and
Yeah, well, it
said,
wasn't even a line. It wasn't even a line.
yeah, it wasn't even a line. We just said, guys, that was great. We just need to do it one more time. And if you could just do exactly this. And we just kissed each other like two normal people.
It was absolutely hilarious to just assume that a couple who's been together for over 40 years would know how to kiss on take one and realize, nope.
What they
I
say
think
about
it was just too much pressure in that moment. And they were coming at it with two very different ideas. And we didn't
That's
have time for their ideas to sort of equalize.
Yes, it was a hiccup of acting and pressure, and yeah, there was no time. There was no time.
But Ewan's a great kisser. So
We
no
also,
problem.
we kissed in our pitch as well. Gideon and I did.
Oh yeah, we've done a lot of kissing.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And I love that. That's a sign of a great collaboration. Which I
That's
want
right.
to ask you, and obviously Gideon knows his parents incredibly well, but how was it for you as a director and a co-writer getting to work with a family unit and all kind of figure out where your positions lie
Yeah.
in a project like this to get seasoned up and going?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly it's kind of an honor, right? Like between who they are and their pedigree as actors, especially, with Mandy and Kathryn, Gideon and I had a pre-established relationship as friends and collaborators
And kissers.
and kissers, and to have all, fully just trust me as this additional piece that is both within and without the family dynamic is, it's I take it as a pretty big responsibility and a huge honor, but also like it doesn't feel pressureful because they're all so lovely and have been so open with me over the years that it feels uh just like this thing that I have a responsibility to, look out for each of them in different ways in terms of what we're asking them to share and be vulnerable with, while also like having a bird's eye view on stuff that I get to be more objective about that for them is super subjective. There have been times where like we're writing something and Gid will be like, "Yeah, but I just don't," and it's like, "Well, it's okay, Gid. Like this is the fiction part," and he's like, "Oh, right, we get to fictionalize," or something like that.
Well,
And
yeah,
we quick kiss.
like the kiss. Well, I wanted to on that, Gideon, I wanted to ask you because like you were part of the reason I have been a huge fan of your father's my entire life, but there are people who did not know that Mandy Patinkin is as funny as he can be. And those videos he made during the pandemic made me happy because people were like, oh, Mandy Patinkin rules. I'm like, I am well aware. But it also like highlighted your mother and showed how funny she is. And how was it going from that and showing the world who your parents were and letting us into that kind of happiness to then taking it to this fictional realm and showing them in a different light?
Yeah, it's been a really beautiful and illuminating process. I think uh as collaborators, performers and family members, they're just very open and willing to try things. Whether that was, having authentic conversations about family during not lockdown and sharing those with folks, or trying to make content for like a cause or a candidate, which is when, we brought Ewan into the social media mix, and that's when our like platforms really blew up with his collaboration. And then it was a pretty like smooth relatively smooth handshake into this fictional based in lived reality world. And we put together like a 2 week workshop for the four of us before we filmed the pilot to kind of play with a variety of materials, scripted, improvised, using neighbors, using actors, using a DP who joined us, running them and each other through all kinds of exercises to see where the weak points were, where there was friction, what was kind of like a red flag, so that we wouldn't have so many surprises in the pilot process. And I think we were all just really encouraged by how few flags there were. It was just like a lot of fun, and a lot of information about what each other's strengths and sensitive points were. So it was a surprisingly smooth transition, and having the opportunity to share, my mom in that context, in this format with the world, has been like really beautiful, and seeing her get recognized in different ways for that, and then showing my dad's sillier, goofier, playful side has been really wonderful. And where the season kind of goes from there really takes off in that regard. And this is a project that we never would have done any other way without like Ewan. We never would have trusted these stories and this family dynamic to any other filmmaker than him, whose work we love and who we trust as sort of an additional family member at this point. So it was like really a great convergence of unlikely affairs.
Well, I love it. And I was going to ask both of you, like, I was teased that you wrote so many extra episodes and everything about this series that, like, if it gets picked up, we will eventually hopefully see all of them. Do you have a favorite moment or episode that you guys wrote that you're like, I really want people to be able to see this one thing come to life?
That's a great question. I mean, I think what's tricky about what we've done is because we don't basically we treat each episode as its own thing, and so there's a really wide variety of tones and genres and sort of like plot lines and directions we take it in. So I have found that my favorite tends to be like the one I'm thinking about in that moment, and I'll get really, really excited about it. And then Gideon might be like, "Hey, what about, this angle?" And then I'll be like, "Whoa," they're really different, but because they all have Mandy and Kathryn embedded in them, um, they just like it just feels so exciting to be able to take them to really different places. I will say that that's the Miss America answer where I didn't answer your question, but I will say that I think without giving too much away, there's some really fun stuff that I'm really excited about, specifically from the filmmaking side, in terms of what we're asking from Mandy and Kathryn, and then also what we would be asking of the crew, and pulling off some sort of storylines that go so far into the surreal that we kind of end up looking at their life through these really crazy prisms.
Can't
And
give some stuff away.
yeah, well, I mean, there's basically the one that I think I keep churning over is one that we were writing. We wrote the first season of this right up until the writer's strike. And so the last one that we were working on deals a lot with the subject of death. And I think that one is jumping out to me right now because it feels like the one that we sort of set our pens down at the writer's strike, and we were getting really, really excited about all the ways it would go. But we didn't get to go to all those places yet. And so both from a writing perspective and what we can still tweak with that episode, and also then what we did write down and imagining getting to make it, I'm just like, oh, I want to get there.
And I'd have to say mine is the I could say what
Yeah,
the episode is?
yeah.
Yeah. Is the episode that deals with them at a sex party that they go to experiment at. And it was just so it's like on its surface, it's the last thing that most people would want to write about or for their parents. And it was fun and ridiculous to just imagine them just physically being in this environment around these characters and to create that environment. I mean, we just had a lot of laughs, and I can just see that episode crystal clear in my mind. It was such a pleasure sharing it with them and seeing them find it hysterical. So that's one of the five that I can't wait to see.
Well, I can't wait for everyone to get to see the show, but I want to end with this question because you said you helped with the social and like you guys made this platform and you've made me cry on it multiple times because when Mandy Patinkin is singing anything, I start crying, and when he was doing it for Sondheim, I cried 10 times more than I would have probably just on a regular day. But it is after talking to them, I was like, they just say some of the most heartbreaking and beautiful things and then carry on with the conversation as if they didn't just say something beautiful. Like he told me he looks through, like I have an eye disability, so we were talking about eyes, and he said that he has to like transplant eyes that were from children. He said every day I look through these children's eyes. I was like, you can't just drop that and move on.
Yeah.
When you guys are working on something like this or working on those social media posts, do you have moments where you're like, you can't just say that stuff? People are going to be wrecked and I'm going to have to deal with everyone's emotions.
I mean, those moments are great. It's an endless stream from those two, which gives great material for us.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that like it speaks to this really fun and unique part of the process of making this exact show, which is using their real life plus their acting chops. And so they inspire us to write the material, and then we get to hand it back to them. And they surprise us with what they do with the words we wrote for them based on what we thought they would say with how they're now saying it. And there's this weird like layered effect, and that kind of becomes what we find so fun about it is the pancaking layers of reality fiction, and what they end up doing because their hearts are so wide open. That's what makes them so inspiring. And then that's what turns their performances into such magic. And we are just trying to make sure the stitching in between checks all the other boxes, kind of a thing.
And no matter how many people they move or how many responses they get like that, they never think of themselves as interesting or saying anything remotely like meaningful or funny or connected. They are constantly surprised and bewildered by anybody wants to listen to them. And that's nice that humility has remained intact.
Yeah.
And it's part of probably why they're able to just speak authentically so
Yeah,
regularly.
Rachel, when you were saying that, I was also thinking that's been my experience of their sense of humor is like, they don't know that they're as funny as they are in the way that they interact with each other and the way that their 40 plus years of dynamic play out in a 5 minute period can get quite hilarious and feels like a scripted scene, but they're just being themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I'll find it hilarious, and they won't think they did it. They won't know that they did anything other than just live for 5 minutes.
It's
Yeah.
very funny watching them, like, because Mandy would constantly be like, I just wanted the world to love Kathryn like I love Kath. And she'd be like, stop. No, I don't stop like doing that. And I was like, no, this is so cute. Like, just let it happen. This is adorable.
Yes.
Well, I love the show. I want to see it picked up. I want more of it. Gideon, I owe you my life for making that TikTok account because it's every time I need a little chuckle, I go and I look at whatever new video is on it. It's
Well, thank you. That was Ewan. Ewan was the mastermind behind getting that whole TikTok account started. So
nailed it, Ewan.
Well,
great to hear
it
that.
was pretty easy. You just put Mandy Patinkin in the title, and it turns out a whole generation you didn't know followed him, loves him, and it's awesome. But thank you. That's so nice of you, and thanks for talking with us.
Yeah, of course. Now, if you guys can just get him to do a version of Lily's Eyes for just me in particular and my roommate, that would be great.
All right, we'll
Yeah,
start working on that.
no problem.
Because we watch it all the time anyway. So now it'll be specific.
She has her eyes. She has.
We watch
Great
it like
song.
so many different versions of it. But anyways, I can't wait for everyone else to get to see this. And knock on wood, we get more because I want more.
Appreciate
Thank you
that.
so much, Rachel.
Thank you guys. Have a great one.
Thank you,
You too.
Rachel.
Bye.